Here we are for another week of Parenting Paused. Thank you for joining me for these little intimate talks about pure joy and what I have discovered over the last 20 years. My daughter just turned 22 years old. And so I like to share with others my insights that I discovered during my parenting and then also working with other parents. So this week, let's talk about trying. I found this to be such a intense part of my parenting, and I also find this with lots of my clients that I work with, that we are trying so hard. We're trying to be the best parents in the whole world. We're trying to listen. We're trying to be patient. We're trying to be loving. And yet there's quite a lot of energy in our trying. Now, what I mean by that is the more that we try, and then if our children don't reflect back to us that that trying is actually creating what we're trying to get, such as we're trying to be a better listener, just think about it. When we're trying to do that, we have this idea that that means our children are going to be better listeners or they are going to receive us more. Maybe we do all of our trying out of a compensation of, ooh, if I do this, then. So think about that this week. Do you ever feel like if I try really hard to be the most conscious parent, then what might happen? Does that mean my child's going to turn out to be that child that I think they should be? Is my child going to, as I say, listen to me? Are they going to comply? Are they going to do what I ask them to do? Because often that trying is that compensation from actually resting and being with what is and actually meeting what is. Now, what I mean about meeting what is when my daughter didn't listen to me or I perceived that she wasn't listening, I started turning inside to see what was going on internally inside of me that fueled that perception. Because actually, it wasn't that my daughter wasn't listening to me. It was that she was actually busy doing something else that had her attention. But I would try so hard to say the right words, to enter her room the right way, to try to figure out why I couldn't get my daughter to hear me, to listen to me, right? Do you ever have that happen? I know so many parents that I talk to have this same experience. And yet, the more I tried externally to change myself, to put my energy outside, instead of to set my healthy personal boundaries, to which for me are what's okay with me and what's not okay with me about how I treat myself. And when I turned back inside, I found that I was treating myself as if I didn't have anything to say, as if I wasn't listenable, if that's even a word. And then I would beat myself up and try harder, work harder, read more books, do more things to try to get her to hear me. And yet, it wasn't ever about that. In Pure Joy, I always like to say it's never about what I think it's about. So it wasn't really that my daughter was disrespecting me. It wasn't really about that she wasn't listening to me. It was about I had a certain agenda and I so wanted to be heard. And yet what I realized as I turned back inside that I wasn't actually hearing myself. So this week, as you contemplate this, and that's what we're always doing in Pure Joy, I just support you in taking some time. If you notice you're trying so hard to get the other to recognize you, take some extra time this week to turn back in and to recognize you. to truly listen to you, to honor you, to respect you. How do you treat yourself? And what I mean by that is your language to yourself. What do you tell yourself when you perceive that your child's not listening or not doing what you want them to do? Take some time to really turn back in and ask yourself, how am I treating myself? Am I listening to myself? Am I setting my healthy personal boundaries of what's okay with me and what's not okay with me about how I treat myself? All right, lovies, have a great week this week, and I'll see you next. Thank you for listening to this episode of Parenting Paused. If you enjoyed the episode, do me a favor and share it with your mama friends. You can also leave a review wherever you listen, which will support getting the Pure Joy message out. Come on over to the Pure Joy Parenting Practice Facebook page or join me on Instagram to hear more. And don't forget to download your free copy of the Safe Seat course on the Pure Joy website. And while there, check out the offerings page to go deeper in the Pure Joy work.